love me. Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.
Alright everybody, so we are back on the story mode server. I thought I would do a quick review on some of my most used mods on this server and most of our other ones. A lot of them are pretty much the same. So I did want to, for all the people who play on any of our servers, who may not be familiar with all of the mods or maybe have not used them, I wanted to go over a couple of the ones I find useful and the ones that I use the most so far in this series. So without further ado, this one quickly will just be on the Dino storage mod. This is by far one of my favorite mods. So you craft all the parts to it right on yourself. So the soul terminal, I'll show you the ins and outs of that, but that will take some polymer, oil, the metal ingots, and cementing paste to make. You also, although not mandatory, it just makes it a little easier to pick things up, you would craft your soul gun. So this will suck the dino that you are targeting up into a little cryopod, a little soul ball is what they call them. And this also will take some polymer, some metal, and cementing paste to craft. You'll also have to keep some soul traps on you, and this will be basically the little cryopods, the balls that will store your dinos in them. So first things first with this, so one of the features of this soul terminal is the fact that it will passively, like any of the dinos in there that passively generate anything, whether that be their feces, acatina paste, oil, all of those little things that some of the tames that you get that you can collect over time, it will gather all of those up while they are cryoed or in a soul ball, and build up those resources directly in the soul terminal. It will also pick up any fertilized eggs that drop and incubate them right up to 1 second left. So the only thing you would have to do is throw the egg down. For dinos who do not lay eggs, are mammal dinosaurs, as long as you have soul balls inside this terminal, it will just, as soon as the baby's born, it will just suck it up in a cryopod. So in order to turn these features on, one main important thing is the ini files do have to be adjusted. You do have to add a couple lines to your ini files so that this works to the full capacity. So first, in order to turn it on, once you've crafted it and you've laid it down, you would go into the options and automation, and in here this is going to activate all the toggles. So all the things that you want it to collect, all the things you want it to do, it's going to do. You're going to check the boxes that you want. So you can see it will collect the fertilized eggs, it will incubate them, it will, as long as, like, this is a huge helper to me for my kibble farm, because any of the dinos that I have that I use strictly for the eggs are cryoed up in here, and they will just generate unfertilized eggs, and that will collect them, and I don't have to worry about being around to collect everything by hand. So any of the passive generation, so as I mentioned, that's definitely things like the oil, acatina paste, things like that. Poop generation, this is also very good. So it will collect the poop. If you have a beetle, you cryo him up and you put him in there, he will convert all the poop that the dinos are dropping in there into fertilizer. You can also set this up for this soul catcher. It will automatically deposit the fertilizer in the crop plots, as long as this is close enough to your garden to do so. So I mean, you could have one of these out by your garden with a Pheomia or two cryoed up and a beetle, and just have them in there making poop and fertilizer and putting it into your crop. So it's definitely useful, especially for people who have busy schedules and can't always be around to put the fertilizer in their plots. This is very useful. So I guess the honey, I could have the queen bee in there directly, and it would automatically collect all the honey generation as well, which is neat. I have not used it for that, but I'm interested to see exactly how that goes. Here is all your poop slot allotments, so how much of each poop you want, or how many slots you want them to fill up, basically. So this is set to however much you want. This thing fills up pretty fast with feces. So I generally have this turned down quite a bit because it gets full fast. So if you look in here as well, if I wanted it to do the newborn auto trap, is what we would call that, I would enable this. I would have my dinos on mate outside of this soul trap, and any babies that are born, our mammal dinosaurs, would just automatically be claimed, sucked up into a cryo ball, and put into this machine to raise up when you can or have time to do so. So now, when we go into my inventory here, so this gives you an idea of exactly what this soul terminal is doing. So you can see I have all my kibble farm dinos, so everyone probably saw an episode of me gathering up the majority of those, and I just keep them in here. Some of them, like Brontos, they take up a lot of space. I don't need them out taking up space on my land, so they're good to stay in here and just create the eggs that I need them to. So as you can see, I've got 45, 46 eggs of each that I need. My beetle that I also have in here is changing my feces to fertilizer for my crop plots. I have my Bassie in here, and you can see the ton of oil that he is just passively generating, and this thing does not miss a drop. Achatina paste is another one. So in Achatina, this is same as cementing paste. So this very useful. I also do not miss a drop when it comes to this, and this is like gathering it by the tens of thousands. So you will never have a shortage of cementing paste with this going in an Achatina. Achatina is also let off small amounts of polymer. As you can see, I mean, I've got 93 organic polymer. That's not a whole lot, but they don't really give out a lot, considering if I just had him out, I'd be getting, 5 to 10 organic polymer every few hours, and I'd have to be around to collect it. It's not going to build up over time. So this is by far one of my favorite mods for sure. It definitely makes my life on Ark a little bit easier as far as having to do those tedious things, picking things by hand, or going out to the winter zone collecting the oils, or things like that, being around to collect the eggs. It's just definitely a mod that I would highly recommend to anybody. So this is pretty much everything to do with that mod. This is one that I definitely use the most, and I would definitely, like I said, I would definitely recommend it. So that just about does it for our Dino Storage mod review. This Soul Terminal, in case anybody was interested, can be actually, the skin of it can be changed into something else so that it can look a little different. And that way it just looks like a little guest book on a stand. I definitely prefer the little techie-like one. And yeah, so that's how the Soul Terminal works. I showed you the gun. The useful thing, like I said, for the gun was just easier to pick things up. So I'll show you really quick how that would go. So I could pick up this theory. I aim and shoot. He's gone into my little cryo ball here. Blue is for male and pink is for female, so that shows me that is my male theory. The other nice thing about this gun is he left a bag behind, so I can shoot that bag, and although it gives me trouble sometimes, it will usually pick it up, except for right now. Yeah, for some reason it's not. And then basically if I wanted to throw my theory back out, I just equip him just like I would a cryopod. I left click and out it goes. Now, if your early game and your resources aren't up where they need to be to maybe make the gun, you can just craft the little soul balls, which are just with the crystal. And I could use these very similar to a cryopod. And I'll show you really quick how we do that. So I've got the soul ball in my hand, and I would just point at him like I would the cryopod, and same thing as the gun. Gun is just easier because I can have long range. I don't have to be really close to it, so it can definitely come in handy for the most part. So yeah, so that was it. That's the Dino Storage V2 mod on my story mode server. So I will go over a few more mods in my next video. I hope everyone enjoyed going over this one, and I will see you guys all in the next one.